Thanks for your company. The details now. Mass registration of the Ghana card began on Monday after a piloting, but many people visiting registration centers are still struggling to understand the process. For instance, residents of Manhean, Fuaman and in Sakina in the Ga West Municipality are all rushing to the only center serving the three towns currently. Well, according to the supervisor in charge, centers will be set up at Fuaman and Manhean from next week, but residents in those areas are impatient, so there's clogging and there's a lot of queuing at the Manhean Center. Al-Hassan Musa is supervisor for the area. He started off the day with a briefing.
Requirement say near teacher one worker your birth set.
We need two main things: your birth certificate or your valid passport, not an expired one. If you have the old birth certificate, we accept it. There's a number on it, and we can pick it and generate a certificate number for you.
Certificate number. So, Obepe nipa oye wobusuani no ebia unia bi ana oba ana se wobusuani bi nipa baako.
If you don't have any of these, you would need a relative who already has a Ghana card. The person can vouch for you. If you don't have a relative, you need two people who have the card.
Na se uni sa nkofo ni bia obepe ana se wo sa nkofo ni bi so a omunye wobusuanfo nipa mienu no so no yeso musomo o card mu na so apart from that no so we bi mu a omubeti ya ide omubeti ya ba chairman ti say gazette chief Ohine, assemblyman, first MP, imam, Obu ina ye mkrofo mu betimi abacha mu betimi ejine mu ama nanso aji for mu kita card.
Aside from that, we have other people who can vouch for you, like a gazetted chief, assemblyman, past MP, imam, pastor. They can all vouch for you, but they need to have a card. There are long queues, but I urge you to exercise patience. We'll be here for many days. People from Paradise and Block Factory, Afuaman, are coming here to register. Registration at Afuaman will start next week. We would move from here after 11 days to the Manhean school.
Afuaman, next week Afuaman will start. Almost Afuaman the second phase. And I after 11 days we are covering your school.
We are here in the Manhean area. We are not doing this for one day. We are human beings working with machines. When it is 5, the room gets dark. We can't take photographs. When we tried it on Thursday, the photographs were bad.
And I try yes, right, and the season you try picture now and mask. Winter was there, Yama Omuko, not almost time. And Moonshan is so manu. Why ever Chama or no? So, Obi.
And please take note, for those who have people vouching for you, there is a different queue for you. Once the vouching is done, you join this one and go inside for your photographs. When we are done with you, you can take the form home. But some go inside, and when they see the long queues, they take the forms home. Please don't take the forms home.
Clearly an indication that a lot of people don't really understand what this process is about. We'll be bringing you more, but information we gathered indicates the center will be operational for 11 of the 22 days for the registration here in the Greater Accra region. Meshach Owusu is district supervisor of the National Identification Authority, and he gave us more on this, but we'll reach him later. On Thursday, we brought you a different problem from another center which had to do with the generation of the digital address the Ghana Post using the Ghana Post GPS app, and we got a reaction from spokesperson for Ghana Post, and she stated that if you're having such problems, you can reach the Ghana Post rep at the various registration centers and they would help you out. We will keep our eyes on this and bring you more details on what to expect, especially with this particular exercise. The National Identification Authority began the mass registration in Accra on Monday, April 29, and they're hoping to end on Saturday, July 6. Now, the region has been divided into two zones, Accra West and Accra East, where registration centers will be opened at specific locations. Now let's take you back to that story about the ongoing mass registration of the National Identification Authority for the Ghana card. Professor Kenneth Tifa is Executive Secretary of the National Identification Authority. He joins us with more. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to have you here on the show. So, since mass registration started, we've been out at various centers trying to observe the process. And what we realize is that quite a number of people who visit your registration centers do not understand basically what they are required to bring and the general process. How has education on this gone so far?
Well, thank you very much. You at Joy, I believe, can attest that you run quite a few commercial forums, a few advertisements informing people. People in communities would also attest. We have sent mobile communication vans, vehicles mounted with megaphones, going into the communities early in the morning, doing dawn broadcasts, and then doing the same at dusk in the evening, morning from 4 to about 8, and evenings from about 4 also to 8. In addition, we have had jingles run on social media widely, and we've had a few commercials on radio and television. And so that's how advertisement communication has gone. But I must admit there is always room for improvement. I meet people who have heard the advertisement, who have seen the registration process, who have even gone to the registration centers, but who evince a limited understanding of the registration requirements. And those are issues we are having to grapple with. The jingles that I talked about are in English, and some are in Tree and Ga and Ewe and Hausa and the other local languages. But even for English, I mean, those who speak English or who understand Tree, you got to hear it a couple of times. You got to have some interaction for some people to appreciate what exactly are the requirements. And if I may, the requirements are basically that one has to establish their Ghanaianness, that you are eligible to register because you are a Ghanaian. To do so, you must provide a birth certificate, a valid birth certificate, or a valid passport. A birth certificate, holding a passport implies that you have a birth certificate. So if you do not or cannot easily lay hands on your birth certificate, a passport suffices. But if you have neither document, then you need to be vouched for by a person who has registered and been issued with the Ghana card. If that person is your relative, then just that person. But if you do not have a relative available, then two persons who have registered and who have been issued with the Ghana card, who also fall into a certain category that has been established by law, must vouch for you. Those persons are people who are members of professional groups such as pharmacists, doctors, lawyers, dentists, architects, and the rest of them, nurses, teachers, whether they are retired, and for each of these classes of persons, whether they are retired or servants, public servants and civil servants, from a messenger to a chief director, ministers of state, ministers of the religion, imams, traditional authority leaders who have been gazetted, serving or retired members of the security agencies, all of them. All these and more are the kinds of persons who must vouch for a person who can vouch for a person who doesn't have any of the two primary identity documents. However, even if you have the identity document, you must go there with your digital address code, the Ghana Post digital address code. You are also required to provide all state-issued ID cards that you have. So even though, for example, a driver's license or a national health insurance card or voter ID card, even though none of these establish your identity as a Ghanaian, if you have any of these, then you are required to take them along, as well as your TIN number if you have it, and any of those state-issued ID cards, driver's license, Social Security and National Insurance Trust numbers, Ghana card, Ghana Revenue Authority card. All of these.
All right. Okay, Prof, just for a bit of clarity, these ID cards you're mentioning do not replace the two main required ones, that's the birth certificate and or the passport. All right.
They do not. They only help us to achieve data harmonization and integration.
Great.
So we take pictures of them and then we return the originals to the applicant.
Prof, apart from the issue of education, many are also concerned about announcement on where to go to register. For example, one of my colleagues visited a center within the Ga West Municipality in Manhean. And the officer in charge at the registration center had a hard time because he's got long queues and people are coming from different parts of the municipality where they would move to in the coming days. So he says some are coming from Afwaman, some are coming from Paradise. We will come to you. So just relax, stay in your neighborhoods or your vicinity and we'll come there. But it appears that people do not know. I have heard adverts running on what to bring to the registration center, but announcement, education on where to go to if you live in a certain vicinity, where to go to at what point, so that people don't rush and create more problems for you. Localizing, you know, at the local level, how people can know where to go to. Is there any plan? Or is anything like that happening?
Well, thank you. Thank you, Bennett. I'm really grateful for this particular question because even though we've announced through a press conference and we've issued statements and all of that, we have divided Accra into two zones. There is Accra West and Accra East. And that this first leg of the registration that will end on July 6th, that will end in May, will concern Accra West. And then we'll go to Accra East, where it will eventually end on July 6th. In the Accra West district, we have opened 350 registration centers overall. Now, the 300 registration centers are spread out, but we make sure that the law requires us, to the extent possible, to use the last registration centers used at the EC in the general election. So to the extent possible, we try to do that. There are places where you have no data connectivity. Okay. And then, because we aim at instant issuance, data connectivity is important. There is also the issue of our law requiring us to conduct our registrations inside buildings, premises. And so where EC could have done it under a tree, the voting exercise, we have to be in premises that are enclosed by and large. And so we have these realities to contend with. We have mobile vans going through the communities. We are working with the National Commission for Civic Education and with the Information Service Department of the Ministry of Information, going around telling people where to go and register. I want to use this platform to assure the good people of Ghana that we will be in their various communities and that there is no need to rush into other communities. When we started our pilot registration in we had a situation where people were coming from Ejam and Probi and all of that to go to Adentra to go and register. it skews the data, it creates imbalance, and it distorts or undermines part of the essence of what we seek to create. To know which people live in what communities, what are the demographic and residential patterns and other social characteristics. And so we are going to enhance education for people to know that we will come to them. And even where a registration center is not very proximate to where they live, we have a leapfrog where between one center to another, those spots which were not covered, we will mount our registration centers there, even if it's for just a week, so that no gaps are in the registration process.
Prof,
Yes,
if
Benny?
somebody lives because of the issue of data and not skewing it, if I live, for example, in Adenta, but I work here at Kokomlimli, where should be the right place for me to register? Would I be turned away from a Kokomlimli center because I don't live here?
Oh, absolutely not. I was only responding to the idea of reducing pressure.
Okay.
Yes, but if, for example, if you live in Adenta and you are registering at Kokomlemle, because you are providing your digital address as you must, the digital address will help us locate you properly.
Okay.
And so, yes, you can register anywhere in the country. We just don't want people to rush and burden a registration, a particular registration premises, because then what we've done is we know the capacity of each registration official, roughly speaking, or how many persons can be registered in a day by a registration official, how many cards can be printed at the center approximately. So if we have an avalanche of people at a particular place, and yet there is hardly anybody at another registration center, some people will basically be doing nothing, whilst others will be overburdened, and yet the applicants at the dominant or at the oversubscribed registration center will be feeling frustrated because they cannot get through to the before the end of the day catches up. So that's the reason I was talking about.
All right, Prof, thank you very much. So should we expect some more education in the form of LPMs read on radio, advertisement, something of the sort?
So grateful you asked that, and we know that, Joy, you've been very helpful. The advertisements I've heard mostly from your end, and we will also appreciate opportunities such as this kind of interview in order to shed light on the work that we do. Thank you so much.
I am Professor Ken Atefa, is Executive Secretary of the NIA. We've been talking about the ongoing mass registration exercise, especially on education. It appears many people don't know where to go, what to expect, what to give. And so you heard there from the boss himself explaining what, document you would require and all that. You can go back onto YouTube and furnish yourself with more details if you missed any part. You're watching News Desk. Coming up in business, Ghana Export Promotion Authority engages some banks to provide financial support for export companies. We've got details shortly. Do stay.